I'm Dr. Linda Gromko, and this is Transgender Medicine Made Simple. Today we're looking at what are hormone pellets. So because of the current political climate, many trans people have become very concerned about whether or not they can even get hormones. And we don't have many answers going forward, but one option to know about is hormone pellets. And the reason for this is they can be inserted and left in for several months at a time, giving a person several months of hormone coverage without having to worry about it. So we started doing pellet insertions in our clinic several years ago when there was a shortage on estrogen, which we know happens from time to time. Now, this is not something for everybody, but many of our clients really love them because they could be inserted during a minor procedure about every 4 to 6 months. They were great for kids who were going away from Seattle to school for a quarter or a semester at a time. And they were wonderful for people who were getting tired of doing self-injections or bothering with daily or twice a week pills or patches. So warnings here, we're going to look at the procedure itself. Be alert if you're squeamish, turn away. Here's what we needed to do a hormone pellet insertion. So at the right, you can see there's a hormone kit, which is opened and showing the contents. The hormone pellets actually came in a box, and these were ordered from a compounding pharmacy. Now in the pellet, we have a sterile tray, a fenestrated drape that's in blue there. We've got little pickup forceps and a scalpel. There's a trocar. You can see it just barely there's a protective cap here. That's the trocar. And then there's a two-part insertion device. And we have the pellet holder and the insertion rod here. Okay. Now, the patient is first counseled about pellets and a consent form is signed. And here the ARNP is mapping out the landmarks on the patient's buttocks, the place where an IM injection would go. So it's kind of if you divide the buttocks into quarters, it's going to be the upper outer portion. It goes in the upper outer quadrant so that the patient doesn't sit on the pellet. We used numbing cream on the area first. The one that we used was BLT, which is benzocaine, lidocaine, and tetracaine. And we injected 1% lidocaine with epinephrine. Then you can see the area is prepped with betadine and draped. Obviously, you'd use something else if the patient was allergic to betadine. We draped with a sterile drape that came in the insertion kit. And then here's a better look at the insertion tools on the tray. Now, from left, we can see here there's a little pickup or tweezer. There's a pellet here, which you can see with my red arrow. It's pretty tiny, and you might be injecting or inserting rather maybe 6 of these or so. And then these are the tools that you would actually use to place the pellets in the person's body. And here is the scalpel here. We made a tiny incision with the scalpel, and then we put in the gray insertion device into that incision. And then the trocar is pulled back, and the little pellets are placed in this little hollow. Then the insertion rod is replaced and the pellets are deposited under the skin. Then the insertion tool is withdrawn, leaving the pellets in the patient. Now, if any of you have done like an implanon or an explanon insertion or perhaps a puberty blocker insertion, this is very similar to that technique. So here, the clinician is cleansing the site after the procedure. Bleeding, if any, is stopped with pressure. We offer to place a suture, but most people didn't want to have that done because then they would have to remove it. So here we see steri strips being placed on the little wound. We cover this with an opsite or a window bandage, and the patient is really good to go. Now, here's some common questions. Does it hurt to have it inserted? Well, it would if we didn't use numbing medicine, of course. How long do the pellets last? Well, we generally would tell people 3, 2, 1. We generally would tell people that they would last for a period of about 3 to 6 months, although sometimes as little as 2 months. And I have seen pellets that were good after a full year. How many pellets go in? Well, that depends on the dose of the estrogen or the progesterone that's being used. Can they come out? Yes, I've seen it happen. Not very often, but I have seen it happen once or twice where 1 or more pellets were actually extruded. Can you remove them? No. Does insurance cover them? No. And how much do they cost? Well, in our clinic, we would charge about $500 per insertion. So that was really a pretty reasonable thing when you think about the cost of other methods and the fact that this would last a long time. So I hope this information has been helpful for you today. If so, please like this video and do subscribe to my channel, Transgender Medicine Made Simple.